It is December 2nd, 2025. This is it really podcast 216? Holy shit. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hosts, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by our other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
In before we get some troll saying, like, joined as always, except that one time.
And actually, no, this is only podcast 214. Oh my god, that's a train wreck. Anyways, yeah, that's true. The last podcast we made, Josh was not here. But yeah, we appreciate people who chat along in their Discord. We appreciate that Levi Oak illustration for all the beautiful art. And Josh, we appreciate your beautiful, triumphant return. Hi, you der.
I'm Der. I'm Big Der.
Big Der?
How are you, Der?
As opposed to Little Der?
Yeah, I'd say Big Der. It's been a minute. I'm trying to remember going back. You know, I had what was it? 2 weeks ago, right? What was that one? That one was
your anniversary, I believe.
Yes, that was my anniversary. So that one is, you know, that we spent time together. We had dinner and enjoyed each other's company. And then last week was I worked late, got home later, did not feel like doing anything. And so I just didn't do anything. Gar, how have you been the past 2 weeks? What have I missed?
Well, a couple weeks ago when it was your versary, we had Walt book Al for us, who has now joined us in the chat. Shout out Al. So Al and I did a lovely little show, and then I don't know, it got fucking cold as shit outside and it fucking snowed. But then Thanksgiving happened and that was good. Who doesn't love a good turkey? I did not, you know, Josh. I know it's available on the shelves year round. I know I could literally go to the store right now and buy some and make some, but it's not the same. I did not get enough stuffing this year, and I'm starting to be sad about it. I have divorced parents, well documented, so that's, you know, double Thanksgivings other people have. I have I'm a significant other, so that's an additional. So there were 3 Thanksgiving opportunities, and I didn't even eat one full plate's worth of stuffing. I don't know what I'm doing this year. My game is off. I'm rusty. One of my I thought for sure I would get it. So on my mom's side of Thanksgiving, I always go out of town and we do our combined Thanksgiving Christmas because my mom is one of 9 children, and so we have to do things a little bit different when there's a family that large. And one of my aunts that's normally there couldn't be there. Long story short, her husband was having prostate cancer surgery. She couldn't be there. She's normally the lovely cooks, but we all stood up and we all provided in her absence. But my fucking aunt that made fucking stuffing on my mom's side, she put fucking cranberries in it. This was supposed to be my redemption.
So she's excommunicated from the family.
Oh my god, dude! I was like, I knew there was no way there wasn't gonna be stuffing. I was like, all right, with Borg's Christmas and my dad's Christmas, I didn't get enough stuffing, but I've got an entire weekend of stuffing I can eat because we go out of town and yeah, we make a whole thing of it. And then I get there, and the person who made the stuffing, goddamn cranberries, Josh. So that's
like the dried cranberries.
One more time, sorry.
Like the dried cranberries that, you know, look like raisins, but they're
no, they were not. They were not craisins. I believe she baked real cranberries into it, which I don't know if that makes it better or worse, but I was just sad.
Yeah,
that's
I too had 3 Thanksgiving.
What's that?
I too had 3 Thanksgivings, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
I also have divorced parents. Not that that matters first. Because I didn't.
Copycat.
You did. Congrats, you win. You win on the Dysfunctional Family Award. But yeah, so Thanksgiving Day, we had Thanksgiving at Nikita's parents. We had normal stuffing, no cranberries. And I'm one that, you know, I try to monitor my calories in versus, you know, calories burned. Try to, you know, maintain that 2,400 calories per day type diet.
Yep.
And So I plugged in, and it's give or take. I'm not doing it down to the T. I'm not weighing it to the gram and everything, but
Of course.
I'm probably a little bit loose with it, and probably under report, but plugged in them calories from Thanksgiving Day at Nikita's family. Try to keep in mind, try to get 2,400 a day. And when I saw 2,600 pop up just for lunch, I was like, "Oh, child, it's
Woo.
on."
What got you?
And
Was it the dinner buns? Here, I know you're a sucker for a good roll, like I am.
yeah, no, I am, but I actually limited it to only two.
Wow.
Mine was there was baked mac and cheese. There
Okay.
was obviously the turkey, but then the stuffing and the cream corn. It's like cream corn cornbread, so it's like cornbread
Ooh.
cream corn,
Okay.
and I probably had a half a plate of that.
Okay.
But yeah, then it was just all that throughout the day. And then Nikki and I have our own little one where we get one bagged turkeys that you just toss in the oven and no bone, you just slice it up. Those are
Sure.
actually pretty solid. And we have stuffing, and then we have cream corn as well. That's just absolutely phenomenal with some mashed potatoes. You mix them two together. And then, so that was a fun day. And then Saturday, my dad and stepmom moved back to Minnesota from living in Mississippi the past few years.
Wow.
And so we
Welcome
got
back.
all my cousins. Yeah, we got all my cousins and everything together. Um, and so my dad, and so the reason they moved up is because his health is not it's not his health failing, but his mobility is, because he's got toxicity from cancer treatment. So he's losing feeling in his legs.
Oh no.
So yeah, he's in a walk or using a walker, potentially wheelchair in the future, but knock on
Hmm.
wood that's long out there. But anyways, so I haven't had Thanksgiving with that family since 2020.
Okay. Been a couple
And
years.
my cousin, who is my age or our age, essentially mine and Al's age, he got a turkey, wild turkey, so he skinned it himself, did all that jazz, he brined, let it soak in brine for 2 days.
That's the
Then on
that's the secret to a good. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's the secret. The people that brine their turkey, those are the only people that actually make a good fucking turkey. Otherwise, it's dry and it's nasty. And brining is the secret to good turkey. Sorry. Anyways.
And then he got up at 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday to put it in the smoker for the 2 o'clock or the 1 o'clock, no, 2 o'clock dinner. And he got there and he brought it out, and I was just like, I don't know. And so I took a little bit, and I went dark meat, obviously. I grabbed
Obviously.
it, and it was as if, heaven opened up above me, and I watched Jesus come down and then steal a piece of my turkey because he was that jealous of it.
Nice, dude.
And then, so I ate my body weight in that. And then we get to the desserts, and my dad makes a mean pie. So we had homemade apple, homemade peach, homemade apple crisp, homemade chocolate pie. I wish I woke up in Groundhog Day and I could just keep doing it over and over again.
Over and over.
Yep. But anyway, so that's enough for the Thanksgiving portion of our podcast, I believe. But
I mean, it's an important part, and it's just last week. It's not like we're talking about 3-4 weeks ago. It just happened. This is the first post-Thanksgiving pod. I think is legitimate. To all the haters out there, they can go fuck themselves.
yeah, and I guess at my dad's, everybody did like the homemade deal. So like my dad smoked a ham, which was delicious as well.
Uh-huh.
And then my aunt made stuffing where she like cut the bread itself and did all that whole process. And when I first put it on there, I was like, when I first put it on my plate, I was like, this looks like I'm gonna be chewing sponges, because
Like,
it was,
you're like, don't fuck with don't fuck with the stovetop,
yeah. And so I was just like, I don't know if I should, and like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And I took a bite and I was like, what if I've been missing this my entire life?
They got
Now
me.
I did see when she put it in the oven that it had like 3 sticks of butter chopped up and put up on the top, so it like melted down into it. So I'm pretty sure that the liquid that made it look like it was spongy, that was just butter, but it was still delicious.
Nice, dude.
Yep. And then football happened, Gar. Should we get into the Homer highs and Homer does?
There were a lot of football. We absolutely can, Josh. I'll start with the Vikes because you just talked a lot, which I respect. But we'll give your chops just a momentary break. Vikings stink. Everyone who thought Brosmer was going to be the replace of Brock Purdy, or not the replace, but the next Brock Purdy, not so much. I mean, we only gave the kid one start. Could he be better someday? Sure, but JJ McCarthy doesn't even seem so bad now, does he? Do you think JJ McCarthy was sitting there watching that game from the sideline going, I'm gonna be just fine. No, I don't know.
I don't know. Is JJ McCarthy
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy allowed on the sidelines?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was 9.
Even though his borderline personality is, I mean, he wasn't playing. He didn't have to change who he was.
Oh, that's true.
But his borderline personality disorder. No, but I mean, I won't sit here and harp on the Vikes over and over. Next year's make or break, I think, for the whole crew. They might bring in a veteran presence in training camp for JJ McCarthy to compete against. I really don't think they do. But I could certainly see another journeyman QB coming in to seeing what can happen. I really think that would be the Wolves pushing that down on us, but we'll see. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, the defense looks okay. Of all the copium and all of the people who say the dumbest things in the Viking sub, they're like, all right, we got to fire KOC just so we can retain Brian Flores, get Brian Flores head coach, which Brian Flores as head coach comes with his own, I don't know. People are just so simple. As soon as things get bad, everyone wants to fire everyone. Everyone wants to point every finger. Everyone wants the one simple solution that'll bring your team right back to where you were, which was 14-3 last year, even though Darnold ended the regular season terribly and did not very good in the playoffs. But look at him now. Wow. No, it's things are not good in Vikings land. Josh is feeling it. Josh is dunking left and right. But no, things are tough, and we'll see what happens next year, I guess.
Yeah.
But the pack.
Well, Gar, Toyotathon started, so as we know, Jordan Love is absolutely fire when it comes to Toyotathon. I was going to write all the stats down as a comparison because I think he's like 13-12 outside of Toyotathon. During Toyotathon, he's like 13-2, and like it's like a 32-3 touchdown to interception ratio and like a 22-20 or 22-12 when it's not Toyota. It's just ridiculous. But let's just focus on one single day.
Okay.
This man is 3-0 on Turkey Day. He's only got 2 turkey legs, though. Thanks, Greg Olson. With 776 passing yards, 9 tutters, and 0 interceptions, and 130 passer rating. This boy loves Thanksgiving. And, Love loves Thanksgiving. That's really the only – that's a thing there. And, all the Lions fans online, wait until Thanksgiving after the week 1 beatdown. We went out there blindfolded on Thanksgiving, and we put another beatdown on them. Let them get within 7 so they had a little bit of pride. Dan Campbell's out there. He's just like, what do you mean turkeys don't have kneecaps? And then their entire team gave up, put a hole in the locker room. Probably, that's probably why Amon-Ra didn't come back, because he used Amon-Ra's head to go through the wall. But yeah, Packers look pretty solid. Got a big one against the Bears this week. Big Doe coming up. Devontae Wyatt out for the season. He's our best run stopper in the middle. We're going up against the Bears twice, and they have a pretty solid run game. So not looking too hot there. It has been a few weeks since we've kind of reminisced on our hometown teams, Gar. Do you have anything to add about, the Vikings prior to this past week or the Packers prior to this week?
No, I mean, I really didn't even talk about the Seahawks game at all, which is normally what we do. We just talk about last week's game. I guess the other thing to add that I meant to add was that it looks like we're, and I completely understand it, as sad as it is, but it looks like we're in the unfortunate state of Justin Jefferson, our star player, our face of the franchise, the guy, Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman, when they're in their homes avoiding COVID, were like cheering, and who was it, Gary Kubiak? We're sitting there cheering because the fucking Eagles took Jalen Reagor at 22 or 23, whatever the pick was right before us. That kid doesn't seem happy. He's sitting on Gatorade coolers by himself. He's past the special team section of the bench. Like he's on the opposite end of the bench from the offense. Couldn't be further. And the kid's not happy, and we're gonna have to start selling him on staying. Justin Jefferson has always seemed like a class act. So even if he requests a trade or anything, like I assume he's going to be a professional. There's not too much diva inside Justin Jefferson. He likes his flashy things. He likes his bling, but he's never really had that T.O. or Ocho Cinco in him up to this point. So even if there is we talked about divorce earlier, even if there is a divorce, I imagine he'll handle it very businessly, which is a new word I just invented. But no, I don't know. There's also a possible timeline where JJ buckles down with JJM, And he's like, all right, this offseason, man, we're going to fucking fix you. Like, well, let's go get Josh Allen's guy who really fixed his mechanics, this and that. We're going, there's, they could have a beautiful offseason montage together and they just blossom beautifully next year because JJ really wants to be a Viking and this and that. Otherwise, I think there's a real possibility Jefferson is either at this point next year on another team or he had held out until week 7 or whatever it is. Just until the week before it doesn't count, unless you show up, your season doesn't toll for your benefits in the NFL and all this and that for your contracts. And it's looking bleak for old Jefferson. So I don't like that either, but the dude's a stud and he doesn't want to sit behind the QB play he's seen this year. And I don't blame him.
Do you remember 3 weeks ago when your Packers high or your Vikings high was they'd given you hope?
Yeah, they do that. There's the classic cycle of.
It's just, it's like, you missed, somebody knocked the sign down that said cliff ahead and you just kept driving.
Yeah, they got me.
Fuck. This weekend was rough. Sunday, Packers didn't play because they'd already won. During that Vikings game, Asher wakes up and sees a score and just kind of goes, ick. And so I said, yeah, that is kind of an icky game to watch, buddy. And so he's like, let's go outside. So we went outside, just snowing. And so him and we went out and we played in the yard and we made a giant snow pile in the backyard. And since it's not the right snow to like necessarily make a fort out of, we just kind of made a giant pile and then we're going to carve it out once it freezes a bit. But, we had some opportunities in the front yard as well with some snowballs. And I'm teaching him how to be a hoodlum like we were as children. And so, we'd wait for cars to drive by, and there was one that got about probably 50 yards away, and I'd take a snowball and I'd just huck it dead center of the back of the windshield, and I'd do the old Aaron Rodgers suck it sign. I guess it was technically a wrestling. I don't even know who it was, but Aaron Rodgers does, and Brett Favre did it in Green Bay training camp.
Yeah, famous. Yeah, made most famous by DX, which is Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Yep, and so brake lights. Figured, oh crap! Now I'm going to teach my kid about responsibility and how to, take it like a man. And so guy comes back, gets out, and he's like, he's not fuming, which is kind of weird. He just kind of looks at me and looks at Asher and looks at me, and I go, I'm going to teach my son a little bit about responsibility. Hit me, sir. And he goes, do you throw that? I go, yes, sir. And he goes, do you mind if I give you an assessment right now? And I was like, oh, okay. Are you a cop of some kind? And he goes, no, I'm a scout for the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh God.
I'm gonna need you to pick A, B, or C on the next 3 questions. And I go, okay. And so he holds up 3 pictures. In picture A, it's a fan holding a ticket that says section 100, row 5, and he's drinking a beer. Picture B is Justin Jefferson smiling, Vikings jersey, and then picture C is Green Bay Packer player playing defense, looking angry. It actually just looks like a goblin with a helmet on. And he goes, you're a quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Which one you throwing to? And I said, well, B, obviously. And he looks at me, he gives a little nod, he makes a note on his chart. All right. And he just kind of folds him down and then folds him back up without moving him. Now, quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Which one you throwing to? And I said, B. He does it one more time, doesn't move him around. And I go, B, before he even answers. And he goes, my God. And he sets the clipboard down. I could see on there, he didn't write names. He just put a question mark next to mine and then B, B, B. But then there are 2 people above me. The first one was 9. Just must be the ID number that they used. And that buddy picked A, C. The next guy, ID 12, he picked CCC. And so I'm just wondering, this guy must suck at his job if it comes to scouting. And those are the first 2 people he looked at. Because I'm just out here flinging snowballs with my son. And he said, I got a perfect score.
How long have you been working on that, Josh?
Oh boy. I kind of made it up as I went for the most part. I was doing dishes earlier and I got a little bored. But yeah, for the most part, that came on the fly. But yeah, so that's just kind of the quarterback situation. So I guess if you guys want to watch me on Sunday, I will be slinging that rock for the Minnesota Vikings.
Hey, man, I watched you at flag football. You were all 33 then, so you're going to have to double your game, but I believe in you.
Yeah, if 33 is my QBR, I'd still be the top 3 on the team.
ladies.
All right, Gar.
Okay.
Anything else in the real world football that we need to talk about?
No, I mean, I get well. This is just a quick pulse check, and we'll talk more about it in a couple weeks. But do we really believe these? Because I've been talking to a couple people about this over the Thanksgiving holidays. This is a very football oriented holiday, like we've talked about. There's never really. Maybe the last example would be like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a couple years ago, because they came into the playoffs not so great. But there's never really a surprise Super Bowl winner, is there? Like, there's right now this year we have like the Patriots are looking really good, the Seahawks are looking really good, but to me, once you get in the playoffs, it always feels like it comes down to experience. It comes down to the teams that have been there before, and all these hot flashy teams. They look good for a while. Like last year, the Commanders looked really good. Ultimately, they didn't make it. So are there any teams in particular you're buying into the hype of this year that you think are truly Super Bowl contenders? Or do you think once, the flavors of this year get into the playoffs and play the teams that have a lot of playoff experience, do you think things will fall back in line like they usually do? Or do you think we're truly seeing a renaissance in the NFL this year?
Well, I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back then were kind of they made a run and kind of a surprise, but going back, Packers Super Bowl, they were underdogs in every game they played.
Oh my God. I don't want to hear for the rest of my fucking life about how the Green Bay Packers are underdogs, okay?
They were the wild card. And then the year after that, when the Packers were like the favorite, they lost to the Giants in the wild card, and the Giants went on to win it, and they were underdogs. That was, I think, the Pats 19-0 or 18-1 season. And then I'm trying to think, because there have been underdogs, but I just think that it gets so like there's that 2-week span between the last week or the conference games and then the Super Bowl where it just kind of numbs us and we just want more football. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I would say one seeds, the ones that have been there, the Chiefs, who may not even make the playoffs. I mean, we might get to in the playoffs and have two teams that have never hit the Super Bowl, or the 4 teams that are making it to the conference championships not have made the Super Bowl in the past 10 years. Because, I guess Patriots are looking pretty prosperous. Broncos, though, it's been a while. Rams, it's been a while.
Been a while.
The Packers, it's been a while. Cowboys, it's been decades. Bears, it's been decades. So it's like, yeah. I think that it kind of all just depends on injuries and teams hitting their stride at the right time.
Okay. What about you, Josh? I see a couple other notes in here. Do you want to hit some of these things, or do you just want to move on? Yeah,
I mean, I do feel like there's some sort of twilight zone going on with the Bears in first place in the NFC. That's just, to me, just bonkers. They've got a really solid run game, and it's got to be part of it. They've had a cupcake schedule up until the Eagles game, but they still will beat that or won that game. Burrow came back through a couple tutters. We got Thielen asking to be just released from his hometown team, the one that he grew up watching as a boy. And then he goes over to a team that's competing for Super Bowl at 6-6, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I mean, he got claimed off waivers by the Steelers. Trust me, I want to dunk on Thielen more than anybody. I was all over him when he fucking went to the Panthers and this and that. It's not like he went out of his way to pick the Steelers. He got claimed off waivers by the Steelers, for what it's worth. But
I guess that's true. Does he walk into the head or the GM's office and go, "Release me," and then just see what happens?
Maybe. I don't know.
But I mean, him and Rodgers are friends. So
him and Rodgers are buddies for sure.
And the Panthers are a legit team. They're 7-6.
Yeah, they just upset the Rams, which I think, to me, the Rams are still the NFC favorite this year. If I were to pick,
but how they lost to the Panthers?
If I were to pick the Super Bowl,
I got clowned on when the Green Bay lost to the Panthers.
If I were to pick a Super Bowl favorite right now, I think I'd pick my Super Bowl matchup right now. I'd pick the Bills versus the Rams. That's what I'm feeling. But
that'd be spicy.
Yeah, that's what I choose to believe. But also, to your point earlier, I would bet a solid $2 right now that the Chiefs make it to definitely the divisional round, if not the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. As Pat McAfee would say, the Chiefs is the Chiefs. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, and it's too rich for my blood.
Yeah, I understand.
All right, did you guys go over this whole tanking and dynasty trade values?
Yeah, that was back when me and
posted?
Al did our stuff. You don't have to worry about that. We don't have to talk about that. We've already
All
gone
right,
probably a little
I
bit
was
longer
laughing
than.
at a lot of them.
What's that?
I laughed at a little bit of them.
There you go.
I'm guessing it's Superflex.
Did you listen? Are you're laughing at the picture, or did you listen to the show from a couple weeks ago?
The picture, yeah. I don't listen to this show.
That's true.
This show is trash.
We produce the best trash there is. But yeah, no, that was with Al a couple weeks ago, so you're good there. Although Dave's tank has even evolved since then, so that's interesting. Josh, we have one more week to go before the fantasy playoffs. Let's go ahead and talk about how salty you are, my friend.
Well, I've been eliminated. The 1 week where I expected to be playing or be here and ended up not being here, I had named it cannon fodder because that's what I was. I was eliminated from Hidden Oaks redraft, and as Walters so gently put it this morning, I'm 1 week away from being eliminated in Victoria's Secret after starting so hot. A lot of red in the second half of the season because my team just decided to fall apart. Deflate these balls, though. I believe I locked in a playoff spot, or I have, I'm likely to locked in the Hidden Oaks Dynasty playoff spot. And then champs, I managed to somehow squeak by because Glick's team sucked worse than mine, and I somehow beat Willie too, despite Amon Ra giving me a solid 0 points.
Wow, brag about it, dude.
So on the week I went 3-3. It's been a while, so I forgot how this whole operation works. But on the week I went 3-3. On the season, I'm 38-40 for a 48.72% winning. Using the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated, this week week 13, I went 30-17, so over 50%, bringing my season total to 397 and 293, 57.5%. So I am being unlucky this year.
Yeah. That's tough. You'll hit them next year though.
Probably not. I'm terrible.
But looking at it though, since you made that Bajan trade, do you think deflate these balls is your best shot at the ship this year, or what? Or are you still pretty confident in champs, even despite this week being a little rough?
I don't know. Champs, it kind of depends on this next coming week. Losing Amon Ra if he doesn't play on Thursday, it sucks that it's a short week, but if he doesn't play Thursday, then I'm likely struggling at wideout. I did put in a bid for a couple, but I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know if I'm going to bid too much. I'm probably going to overbid on a couple players and underbid on the rest, and then just get stuck with trash and roll out
Josh
Jalen
Jacobs
Warren
went for $1 last week. You guys are all fucking penny pinching over there. If you spend $2, you'll probably get half the fucking players you bid on.
Yeah, but JSN's available, so we'll see.
Let's see. You got, sorry, I pulled up here just the remaining fab dollars. You got 213. Chuck Finley
I think Zim has,
Zim has 234. Olby has $15. The kid you like terrorizing your whole life. Wilbert has 0. I mean, yeah, you have the second most money available, so I mean, it's just really good if Zim really wants to outbid you on someone. Otherwise, you double Aaron, and yeah, like I said, Colby and Willie combined have $15. So you've got some. If I don't even know who's available. I already closed the app. I'm not gonna go back and look, but if you need a receiver, go pay for one, buddy.
Yeah, I think JSN's the top commodity right now, but
he's JSN's available. Shit. That's a league winner right there.
Yeah. Well, probably not. But yeah, I don't know. The trade for Bajan, probably, I don't know why Dave sold off so many pieces. It's just like, you sold off a lot of good pieces. I don't know why you didn't think you were able to compete. Is it just because you were doing bad right now? You just got to make it to the playoffs, baby. So it's, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, he's a nice little commodity to have, especially because running back was definitely my weakest position. I stink at making picks, so getting rid of the first for the next 3 years is probably not the worst idea. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so, but again, back to the question.
I've taken a tight end in the first round for 3 out of the last 4 years, I think.
Really?
Maybe not 3, 2 out of the last 3. I know because I took Tyler Warren this year, and 2 years ago or whatever, I took Kincaid. So it's just, yeah.
And Tyler Warren is a stud for what it's worth.
Yeah, no, I'm not upset with that pick. And Kincaid had, before he got hurt this year, he was killing it too.
But okay, so back to the original question: deflate these balls. Do you think that's your best shot at a ship, or how do we feel about amongst all your teams? You're doing pretty good at Hidden Oaks Dynasty as well.
Yeah, I'd say that Hidden Oaks Dynasty is probably my best bet if I'm looking at it, because I have, I think, like the second or third most points for, and the reason I'm in sixth place or whatever, just snuck into the playoffs, is because I have the most points against, or the second most points against. So we'll see if that if that water finds its level in that league, and then deflate these balls. I think that league is so top heavy in areas. Like there's 3 teams that are just completely stacked: yours, Al's, and Dave's, it seems. And then Tyler's Tyler's born with a horseshoe in his ass, and then whether it's Jack or Foster that sneaks in, that's potential or a possibility as well. So that one just has the most, I think, competitive teams at the top, whereas you, Connor, and I are kind of the top 3, I would say, as far as overall rosters in Hidden Oaks Dynasty.
Sure. See, Josh, we've been sitting here this whole time saying we're having bad years. We're just Dynasty boys now. We've been so ingrained in Dynasty culture and Dynasty research and communities that redraft doesn't even do it for us anymore. I need to be successful.
I need that year-round torment. Yeah.
Exactly. I need to be successful after I had a shitty draft 3 years ago that's still affecting me. That's what I need to overcome. We're just Dynasty boys, Josh. That's all it is.
Dynasty dudes.
Right. For me last week, Josh, I tied my best week of the season for the 4th time. I went 5-2. Woo. Maintained the form. Went back to the form of losing in my 2 most expensive leagues right after a streak of rattling off 3 wins in a row in both of them. So 2 L's up top, but then 5 W's in the rest of my leagues. So 5-2 there in the week. As my records read in the leagues themselves, I'm 49, 41, and 1. That's a batting average of 5.44. So not too bad. All things considered, using the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated, I would have gone 40-20 this week if I played every team in every league, which is just based on the colors, looks like my second best week of the season, which is a good time to have it. On the year, I would be 494, 436, and 1, which is a batting average of 531, so just a little bit less. So you could argue I'm getting a little bit lucky with a couple of my wins there, but pretty close batting averages, all things considered. Similar to you, my 2 best teams are my dynasty teams. Deflate these balls in HO Dynasty. There has been a little bit of an arms race and deflate these balls. You acquired some pieces. Al's been trying to punch up a little bit. T made a trade as well. Not the good T, but the bad. Just like with neighborhoods, there was good T and bad T. Tyler Lawrence is going to be good T, and Tyler, whatever the fuck, Herman is going to be bad T. So bad T made some moves. So there were arms to be had in Dave's tanking, and I didn't get a single one of them. But otherwise,
yeah, you had some. You and Felk were getting your greasy fingers in the pot for Bijan, I heard.
I mean, I'm not gonna not make an offer. I'm a businessman, Josh. I shouldn't say. I don't know if I never formally offered 3 firsts for Bijan, but I definitely considered it. And I definitely considered trading away just a 1st-round pick for T. Higgins. I definitely considered trading 4 firsts for T. Higgins and Bijan. But at the end of the day, I just didn't want to give up that much draft capital for a player. I know I've done it before. If you may or may not recall, in BSB, one year I had traded 3 firsts, and I don't know, it was a big complicated trade, but I ended up giving up 3 firsts, and I got back Dalvin Cook. And within a year or 2, that trade was defunct. But at the time, Dalvin Cook was the hot commodity. And I don't think, to be fair, I'm not saying that Bijan is going to go the way of Dalvin Cook. Like, I was about to trade for Bijan myself. I think he's got, 5 really good years in him. So it's not like I don't think Bijan's a stud. But I just didn't want to give up that much draft capital myself.
My behind it was, if he finishes as a top 5, top 6 on points per game average from now until 2028, then I got my money's worth, because drafting a top 5 running back later in the rounds. You would think that if I have a top 5 running back, I'd be in the playoffs most years. Then I'm not going to get a top tier running back most likely. But then I did draft Kyle Monangai and did pull him off of my taxi squad a couple weeks ago because he is killing it.
There you go.
So, maybe I just stink at first round picks and I just need to accumulate the second and thirds because that's where I got Kyle Monangai and yeah.
Yeah. No, again, I don't think you made a bad move. I was doing my own research, just going like, would I do this? Is this justified? Really the talent for Dynasty, and we don't have to go on this Dynasty tangent, I'll be done after this, but really the talent Dynasty almost all comes in the first round. And more specifically, within like the first 4 or 5 picks, that's where all the really good every week starter players come in Dynasty leagues. And so if you have a bunch of late firsts, they're not as good as you think they are. And of course, I'm not to say you can't hit some gems here or there, but you're definitely not hitting running backs that often. And we're in a standard scoring league where running backs are the standard. So I don't know. I think you made a good move. I personally didn't want to do it myself because I think Dave would have accepted my trade had I put it through Sleeper. But happy for you. And at this point,
he would have. He told me.
What's that?
He would have. He told me.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm waiting for Garlic to offer 3 first because you had 2 for next year and 1 for 2027. And he's like, I'm waiting for him to offer that. And I said, well, if you're looking for 3 first, I can give you my 20 all the way up through, or all of mine through 2028. And he's like, yeah, it still wouldn't do it for me. And I said, I'd be willing to toss in Luther Burden or Downs or something to like a younger wide receiver. And he goes, what about Monangai? And I said, no. And he said, Burden works. And so I sent it through and I said, I had a 2-hour expiration limit on it. And he hit it before the end of the day or whatever it was.
Yeah. No, yeah. Because, I guess we are just going to keep tangenting. I don't care. It's my show. Our show. Because, like, originally, I don't know if he was just like, he's like, I'm blowing it up, this or that. And originally, he just asked me if I'd trade a first for T. Higgins. And I was like, oh, maybe. And then I was like, oh, you're blowing it up. Is Bijan on the table? Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, as soon as he was like, yeah, 3 first for Bijan, I'll do it. Because I currently have 327 first right now. I was like, I can't. As impulsively, had I done it the first day, I would have pulled the trigger. But I was like, I know myself. Like, I need to sleep on it. I need to make sure I feel about it. Need to make sure how I feel about it tomorrow. Because trading in Dynasty, there can be a powerful dopamine hit there, especially for a big trade. Whew. So I was like, I need to sleep on this. I need to be a rational actor. And I had cooled off by that night, but then definitely the next morning, I was like, oh man, I don't think I can move this much for Bijan. As much as I love Bijan, as much as I would love having JT, Bijan, and CMC all on the same team, that would have been fucking sweet. I just couldn't do it, but I was close. And trading a Dynasty is fun, so it's been cool to watch Dave sell off, be successful. Just know that there's activity in the league. People are still trying, make their teams better, this or that. That's fun. But okay. Anything else for the show, Josh? Are we ready to get the hell out of here? Oh, you did do the weekly recap, it looks like. Do you want to spout that off real quick?
Yeah, AJ Brown turned it around. Had 18 points over his projection. He put up 33.7. Helped me in a league and killed me in Hidden Oaks. Dud of the week, JSN, 4.3 points, 16.5 under his projection. And the bench player of the week, the dumb sucker, was DeAndre Swift with 23.8. So
you're telling me that stout Minnesota defense was the only one who could stop the immovable force of JSN?
Yeah, no, it helps when they know that they don't have to throw the ball because they'll be getting the ball back from your team on first or second down. And then they'll just have an opportunity to run more.
Hey, you're absolutely right. Okay, well, we a little bit, again, probably went a little bit longer than you wanted to. I apologize to Nikita if she wanted you back upstairs at a certain time. But otherwise, appreciate you, brother. That's a good show. And this time next week, we'll be looking to fantasy playoff seeding and see how we did. So it's exciting times in the fantasy football world.
Yeah. Go Packers.
There it is.
And go Packers again. Go Packers. I missed a few, so I got to get a Go Packers in.
There you go.
Go Packers.
Herbie would be proud.
Good. Go Packers.
Oh, fuck. Say something, I'm giving up on you.
Let's say something I'm giving up on you.
Lit.